Ah, that's a good wine. Bonjour. Hola. Hey, you guys. It's your girl Kimberly in the kitchen cooking and enjoying a nice chilled glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. Good stuff, you guys should try it. Well, today I'm cooking something really simple. Everybody eats some form of meat. Well, I do. So for me personally, I like to switch it up. I don't like chicken that just seems so bland, or steak that seems so bland, or fish that seems so bland, but yet I still want to eat healthy. So you always got to, add a little extra spice, add something different to it to give it a different touch, a different taste, a different feel to it. And that's what I'm going to do today. Really simple, quick recipe. You can actually add however much you want to add to it. It's just a personal preference on that, on taste, but it still ends up tasting amazing. Today what we're going to cook is cumin chicken, baked chicken. We're going to saute some green beans. Look at those. Those look so good. And we're going to do a side of yellow whole potatoes mixed with mushrooms, bell peppers, and onions. Now, what I've already done is I've already got everything in this pan. The bell peppers, the onions, and the potatoes. And with this, first thing I did was I basically took some of my truffle oil, which I do love to cook with. Olive oil, truffle oil, whatever you want to use, that's fine. I put this in the pan first on the bottom. And then I just cut up my bell pepper in thick strips. I cut up my onion in thick strips. And I also sliced and pulled the tubing or the bottom portion of the mushroom out, and I cut the mushroom in thick slices. Because this is going to go in the oven, so you definitely want to make sure that you don't cut the vegetables up too thin, because you don't want it to be mushy. You want it to have a nice crunch and a full, fresh taste to it, so don't cut your vegetables up small. And with the potatoes, these are my favorite potatoes because they taste amazing. These are yellow potatoes. And all I did was cut the tips off of them, cut the ends off, just a nice thin slice off both sides. And the reason why I do that is because I want to make sure that all of these amazing flavors of the mushrooms and the bell peppers and the onions, that's all going to just soak through these potatoes. So that's why I cut the ends off of all of them. Just a thin slice. You cut the brown spots off of them, but just cut the ends off real thin just to make sure those flavors are flowing through there, okay? And then I'm going to take some of my white wine, my cooking wine. Let's put a little of that in here. All right. I'm going to add a little bit more of the truffle oil on top. All right. And this is actually going to be a side dish, so I don't even have to do much to it. And add a little pepper. And I'm telling you guys, this tastes so good. Every time I cook this, my guests love it. We're going to just do a little bit of salt. All right. And that's it. That's all you do for this yellow or gold. What is that? That's good. Well, that's fine. Potato dish. Again, with the bell peppers, the onions, and the mushrooms. I use truffle oil for mine and a white cooking oil. I'm going to cover this with some foil. I'm going to let you guys see this before it goes in the oven. Look at that. It looks so good. And if you could smell this, oh my goodness. That truffle oil smells amazing. I love cooking with the truffle oil. So I'm going to put some foil on this and cover this up. And this will go in my oven at a temperature about 430, because I'm actually going to cook it with the chicken. The same time I'm cooking the chicken, I'm cooking the vegetables. So I'm going to put that on the top rack. And I've already washed my chicken. So let's slide all this back. Okay. Now with the chicken, I'm not going to add any vegetables or anything to the chicken. All this is just going to be seasoning. With the chicken, I'm also going to take some of my white cooking wine. And I'm going to use just regular olive oil with the chicken. So that's all I'm going to do with that. We're just going to take some of the olive oil and we're going to sprinkle this in the pan. You don't have to put too much. The chicken is going to bake, but I just want to add the olive oil just to give it a little flavor, okay? Now I'm going to take the white wine. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of the white wine in here, just a little bit, not too much. Just going to shake this around in the pan so it gets all over. Okay, that's that. And now the chicken has already been washed. It's totally up to you. If you want to use boneless, skinless, you totally can. Or you can use it with the skin on it. Totally up to you. Of course, the healthier that you're eating, then you want the skin off. So now let's take our cumin. And we're going to load this down because cumin is a very, very great seasoning. And it's very strong. But if you don't put that much on there, when you're cooking it, you lose that. You'll get like a hint of it, but not a strong enough taste for it. And if anybody has ever cooked with cumin, you know, do not add cumin to your food after you have cooked it. It will not give it the same taste. It will not be the same flavor. You won't get that great, amazing, deep, saturated, well-seasoned taste to it. It'll just be like top layer. So put as much cumin as you want on the chicken before you cook it. While you're seasoning it, put that on there right then, because like I said, after the fact, it's just gonna taste completely different, okay? So we're gonna got that really seasoned, really, really good. And as you can see, I have a nice amount of cumin on there. So I'm just gonna place my chicken in here. You can use chicken breast, whatever you prefer. And what I did was I'm flipping it on one side and then I'm flipping it over because I want to get that wine and that olive oil on the chicken just a little. So we're going to put it in there. We flip it over, flip it back. Put it in, flip it over, flip it back. And that's just to get that oil in there really good. Wash our hands so we're not cross-contaminating. And I'm telling you guys right now, with my side vegetables and the potatoes cooking right now, you could smell that already throughout the house. It smells great. Now again, the chicken is seasoned. I can look at this and say, well, let's just put a little bit more if I want. This is the time to do it. Cumin is best put on the chicken, once again, while you're cooking it. When you're getting it ready and you're putting it in the pan and you're seasoning it, that's the best time to put as much cumin as you want on there, because after the fact, it will not taste the same. I'm going to put a little bit more olive oil. And if you notice, I'm going to put a little bit more white wine, but I'm going to put it on the sides. I'm not going to put it directly on the chicken because I don't want it to, take any of the seasoning off of the cumin off of the chicken. So we're just going to put some, pour it on the sides and any open spots that I have in here on my pan. Okay? So there's the cumin with the white wine and the extra virgin olive oil. And that's it. In the pan, ready to go. I'm going to take my foil, cover this. I'm going to put it in the oven until it is completely cooked. It makes, depending on your oven, it may take 25, 30 minutes to cook. You just keep your eye on it. Don't let it burn. Don't let it dry out. And it's going to taste amazing. So let's put this in the oven. Oh my goodness, it already smells so good. Now, a lot of people have no idea how to cook stir fry or sauteed green beans. And I'm not going to show you guys the actual cooking process right now because I am not going to eat them right at this very second. The best thing about your stir fry I shouldn't say stir fry, excuse me, your sauteed green beans is that you can wait to the very last second to cook these because you want them crispy, you want them fresh, you don't want these to be soft. So don't cook these until the very last second when your guests are about to arrive, because you want them, again, you want them to be crispy. All I'm doing is taking this and I'm cutting the tips off. I've already washed them. I just don't want those ugly, see those tips hanging down like that? You want to cut those off. You don't want your guests to pick up a green bean and it looks great and it's sauteed perfectly, yet there's this long tip on the bottom of it. So you cut those off, like so. See, now that one's like a serious tip. You want to make sure that is not hanging off at all, so you just cut it off. Really simple to do. You can do these 3 or 4 at a time. But again, I'm not cooking this. I'm going to wait till everything else is cooked, and then I'm going to cook this, because these do not take long at all to cook. I'm going to use my IKEA griller to saute these in. And it's only going to take a few seconds. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is all you're going to do. You're going to turn the heat up very high on your stove. Have your skillet ready. Your green beans are washed. They're not saturated with water, so you want to let them drain and get that excess water off of them. Your tips are cut off, so you have a nice clean green bean. Then you're going to take some olive oil of your choice, whether you use standard olive oil or whether you use the truffle oil. Either one, it tastes good. And you just want to sprinkle that in the pan and get that heat nice and hot. Then you're going to put the green beans in the pan. You're going to take a wooden spoon and you're going to saute them very quickly. You can put a little salt and pepper on there. And the salt that I really prefer that you guys use, and that's a better salt to use, you don't want to use your standard salt when you're sauteing green beans. You want it actually to be seen. You want the salt to kind of stick to the vegetables. So you want to use coarse kosher salt. It's bigger grains of salt, and it'll stick to the green beans a lot better. See, those are definitely bigger grains. So you want to just sprinkle those on top of the green beans once you have them in the skillet. Once your skillet is hot, really super hot, you put the oil in there. Then you put the green beans in there, and then you sprinkle the salt on there. You can put a little pepper on there, and you just cook them really quick, really fast. They will change color, so they'll get a little darker, and that's how you know when they're done. Do not overcook them. Take them out, put them on your guest plate, let them eat, and enjoy the rest of your meal. So you guys, right now, I'm going to finish cutting up my green beans, cutting the tips off. I'm going to get my kitchen cleaned up. I'm going to have another glass of wine, and I'm going to wait for my guests to arrive. I love you guys. Make sure you keep subscribing, and have a great meal.